live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
Taking a first look at the day's bets, it's time for the FTN Betting Show. Welcome to the FTN Betscast for Wednesday, May 18th here at FTN Bets, sponsored by our friends at Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players, and now you could win on Sleeper by playing in their new over-under game. It's super easy to play. So first, in any sport, you're going to choose two or more players that you like and pick whether they're going to go over or under their listed total. So for example, in NBA tonight, it could be the number of points a player scores, the number of three-pointers he's going to hit, maybe the number of rebounds or assists that he's going to grab. Once you do that, you're going to choose an amount of money that you want to enter into the contest. If you pick correctly, you could win anywhere from 2 times your money all the way up to 20 times your money if you pick 5 out of 5 and get them all correct. But the main reason why I'm excited about this over-under game on Sleeper, it's the only app where you can join with your buddies and all play together. It has a built-in group chat where you could see what I'm picking, I could see what you're picking, and we could all see what the guy who's won a couple days in a row in our group is picking. This way we could all follow along. It's insanely fun when we're all riding it out together and rooting for the same things to happen in order for us to get paid out. So stop what you're doing right now and download the Sleeper app to play in that new over-under game. Have fun with your friends and make a little bit of money. On your mobile phone, you can join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/FTN bets, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. So again, go to sleeper.com/FTN bets. You'll get a $100 match on that first deposit. There are terms and conditions that apply, so see Sleeper's terms of use for details. So let's go on and check out the next game here that we're going to have. Last night, we talked about the Eastern Conference Finals. We saw that start. A little bit of COVID action that happened with a couple guys falling into protocol in the middle of the day there. Boston came out hot in the first half, wound up getting blown off the court in the third quarter. I think it was like a 22-2 run at one point. They went from being up 10 to down 10 real quick and, tried to fight back, but never really were able to chip away at that lead. And Miami went up 1-0 in the East. In the West, we have the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Golden State Warriors here. The Warriors are a -225 favorite to win this conference. 69% implied probability is what that number is telling us there. The Warriors' chance to win this. Mavs are sitting at +185 right now, which is about a 35% chance that they have of doing anything here. So let's see. This game opened. Let's start here. Dallas actually won 3 of the 4 games that these two teams played this season. But I don't really want to put too much stock into that because, you look at the games that these guys played. There were games where Kristaps Porzingis was on the, Dallas Mavericks. I think Draymond Green only played in one of the games that these teams played against each other all season. Klay Thompson may have missed one as well, or maybe even more than one. So really, looking at it and saying, oh, well, Dallas beat them 3 or 4. Dallas should be favored here, blah, blah, blah. It's not really the right way to analyze this because, you're not comparing apples to apples, honestly. You're comparing 2 different teams. Spencer Dinwiddie wasn't here. Dallas had different guys that were playing minutes at the time than they have playing now. The same thing for the Warriors, too. The Warriors had different guys that were playing minutes. They had different guys that were leading them in scoring. They had different guys that they were concentrating on at different points of the season because of injuries and everything else that they had to go through. So, yes, Dallas did win 3 of the 4 during the regular season, and they actually won by some decent margins too. The 3 wins by Dallas were by 6, 9, and 17. The 1 win by Golden State in this series was by 38 overall. So, in the 4 games that they played, Golden State is actually +6 in the 4 games that they played, even though they lost 3 of those 4 games. So again, not really a lot that we could do with those numbers. Just wanted to throw them out there for you guys so that you knew where they were at, and what has happened between these two teams so far in 2022. So on this game here, the spread opened with the Golden State Warriors as a 5.5-point favorite. It's dropped down a little bit. Most of the books out there, most of the online sports books have this at, ±5 at -110 for, these two teams here. The best price we can find on Dallas, you can get +5.5 on PointsBet at -105. So it's even juiced down a little bit. Like I said, most of the other books are at +5 -110. So plus 5.5 at minus 105. You're getting a half a point there. And you're also getting 5 basis points below what most of the market is at. So if you're looking to put money down on Dallas today, that points bet number is the best one there. Best number on Golden State right now. Again, you can find a lot of minus fives at minus 110, but I think the minus 4.5 at minus 115 on BetMGM is the better way to go. Yes, you're giving up 5 basis points, but you're also getting that half a point there so that if the game ends on 5, you get a win instead of a push. So I like that minus 4.5 over on BetMGM at minus 115. That's the best price to play on the Golden State Warriors side of it. I mean, I would like to be on the Golden State Warriors side of it. I think the Warriors are the better team. I think they're at home. I think they should be favored by more than 5 points here. But with that being said, I mean, listen, I thought that Phoenix was going to give Dallas a much better series than they did in those last couple games. So, you know what? Maybe this Dallas team is better. I don't know. This is what I'm looking to find out tonight. Is this Dallas team better than we were giving them credit for in the Phoenix series? Or is Phoenix just not as good as everybody thought they were after the, wonderful season that they had? And yes, maybe some guys were hurt and maybe they weren't playing. I mean, you can make whatever excuses you want, but you know what? We're 100 games basically into the NBA season for all of these teams right now. Everybody's banged up. Nobody's 100% right now. So I don't want to hear that as an excuse. You go out there and you beat the team that's in front of you. And that's exactly what Dallas did. They beat Phoenix. I give them all the credit in the world for it. I don't know if I trust it, though. That's the thing. Like, is this Dallas team really that good that they could go on and win an NBA championship? Or did they just happen to be a good team playing well at the right time and they ran into a team that was kind of struggling? That's what this series is really going to tell us, because now they have a different opponent. So we'll see how they handle the Golden State Warriors after they came off and handled the Phoenix Suns. So let's talk about the total now. The total in this game opened at 215. It's dropped slightly, but not really anything crazy. Best price you can play an over at right now. So the lowest number I can find, 214 at minus 108 at WinBet. There are a couple other 214s out there at minus 110. WinBet has it a little bit below standard juice at minus 108. So the minus 108 on WinBet over 214, best place to play an over here today. If you want to play an under today, 214.5 is the best number in the market. Minus 110 on DraftKings, you can get there. Like I said, there's a lot of 214s at minus 110. That's pretty much the standard number here. 214.5, you're getting a half a point there. Same standard, minus 110 juice. So DraftKings would be the place to play the under if you're interested. Again, these teams did play 4 times during the regular season. There isn't much rhyme or reason to where the totals had been. The first game they played, it was 181 was the total. The second game was 222. Third game was 208. Fourth game was 235. So you have 2 games that were, you have a game that was 10 points above, a game that was 20 points above, a game that was 5 to 10 points below, and a game that was 30 points below. So you you put that on a number line and you got dots going everywhere all the way across from one side to the other with 2 to the left and 2 to the right of where the total is here today. What that means to me is that there's really no rhyme or reason that I could say, yeah, this is going to be a high scoring game, or yeah, this is going to be a low scoring game. I honestly don't know how these 2 teams are going to play it out. And that's fine to say that. People look at that when you say, well, I don't know which side of this game I want to be on. And it's like, oh, well, isn't it your job to tell us which side to bet on? No, my job is to tell you where the good bets are. If we don't know one way or another, if something's a coin flip, if there's no value there, we just don't bet on it. So that's what I'm looking at with the total here today. I don't have a lean. I can't figure out which side would be the side I'd rather be on. Anything that I would do with the total here would just be throwing a dart. There's no data to back up my decision. There's no analysis that I could do. These teams have played multiple times before. Things worked out very differently in every one of those times. I can't really say one way or another. So I'm staying away from the total here today. I don't really have a bet on that. Like I said, if I was going to bet anything on the side, it would be Golden State laying the minus 4.5 at minus 115 at BetMGM. If I'm going to bet anything on the total today, I'm not. I'm just going to stay away from it. So that's the way I'm looking at those. So let's move on now. We can talk about some of the player props that are interesting here today. First one I'm going to talk about is going to be Steph Curry over 5.5 assists. So this is minus 135 on BetMGM, minus 130 on DraftKings and Caesars, but only minus 115 on FanDuel. So I'd like that minus 115 number on FanDuel. Curry played against Dallas in all 4 games this year. He had 5, 7, 10, and 9 assists. So he went over this in 3 of the 4 games. The one game he missed it by half an assist. He averaged 7.8 assists per game against his Dallas team throughout this season. So like I said, that 5.5 number seems a little low. I agree with like DraftKings and BetMGM minus 130, minus 135. Like at 5.5, that's probably where it should be. Honestly, it probably should be 140 or higher, but those numbers are kind of in line. The outlier is that minus 115 on FanDuel here. So that's a number that I'm definitely going to be looking to take here. It's 15 to 20 basis points below where I can get it on most of the other major books here. It's a good play on Sleeper. Do I think it's a great play? I don't know if it's a great play, but I think it's a very good play on Sleeper. I would not mind having Steph Curry over 5.5 assists as one of my sleeper plays today as well. And I also like it on the sports books. Only at FanDuel, though, at that minus 115. I don't want to play minus 130, minus 135 for this. So let's see. Let's stay with the Golden State Warriors here. Another thing I'm looking at here today is Draymond Green over 7.5 points. Now, this is one that I like a lot on Sleeper. Minus 145 on Caesars is where this is at, which is, again, like a 59% implied probability on that number. Minus 126 at FanDuel is the best price we can find on this. I don't know if I want to play this one on the sports books. Minus 126, not really a number that I'm all that interested in here. I mean, it's okay. Like if you wanted to play it, I'm not going to tell you no. I think it's a decent thing to throw into part of a parlay if you want to. But again, I think the better way to play this number is by looking on a sleeper app. Because again, at minus 145, 59% applied probability, even at minus 125, you're still looking at like a 54, 55% implied probability. So worst case scenario, all of the books are kind of in agreement that this is more than a 51, 52% chance kind of thing. So Draymond Green over 7.5 points, definitely one of the things I think the sleeper app would be a good place to play. I am looking at two things on the Dallas side. I have one over and one under. The under is going to be Spencer Dinwiddie under 12.5 points. Now, listen, I know he had some monster games that last year. I think game 7 was the big one for him too. But really, this is not a guy who, I expected to be a big scorer for this team. With Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic playing as many minutes as they are, Spencer Dinwiddie is kind of the guy who spells the two of them right now. Now, he had big games in the first round when Luka was out, but as soon as Luka came back, you saw his production take a big hit here. The reason why I like this too is that a lot of the bettors and the books are looking at this as a big under game. You could get this under at minus 145 on Caesars, minus 130 on BetMGM is the best price, minus 140 on DraftKings. All have the under 12.5 right there. So again, we're looking at a 57 to 59% chance of that with the implied probability. FanDuel, Unibet, Sugar House, and Bet Rivers already moved this from 12.5 down to 11.5. And even at that 11.5, it's juiced up a little bit on the under at minus 113. So that gives me a lot of faith that this number is going to go under based on what all the sports books are saying here today. So I love this one over on the sleeper app. I don't want to play the minus 130s, minus 140s on the sports books, but Spencer Dinwiddie under 12.5 points on the sleeper app. Definitely one of those things that I'm looking at here today. And then the last one that I'm looking at here today is going to be Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock over 8.5 points. This is minus 124 on FanDuel, minus 130 on a lot of the other books out there. I don't mind playing it at minus 124 on FanDuel on the book side. And I also think it's a good play on the sleeper app because, again, minus 124 to minus 130, you're looking at like a 56% chance of happening implied probability. So, again, anything over that 50% chance, definitely something we like. And the higher over 50 it gets, the more that we like it. The last two games Reggie Bullock played against the Warriors, he played 34 minutes, scored 12 points, played 42 minutes, scored 14 points. And remember, we only need 9 points out of him here. In the last series against Phoenix, every game of the series, he played at least 32 minutes. He averaged 36 minutes and he averaged 10 points. And I'm expecting him to do pretty much the same thing here today. I'm not expecting Reggie Bullock to drop 20, but we don't need him to drop 20. We only need him to score 9. And like I said, he's coming off a series where he averaged 36 minutes and 10 points. And he's coming up against a team that he scored double digits against the last 2 times he played. So there are a lot of things that are pointing to Reggie Bullock having a good enough game to get, I'm not going to say a great game, but a good enough game to get over the 9 points that he needs in order to pay this off for us. So this one, like I said, I would play it on the sports books at minus 124 on FanDuel. I think it's worth a wager there. And it's also something that you could wager on the sleeper app if you wanted to. So now that brings us to our sleeper play of the day. Remember, you can go down to the description below here. You will see FTN sleeper.com/FTN bets. You click on that link. That brings you to our sleeper group where we have a whole bunch of people discussing plays, who they like, who they want to get in on here. And it also triggers that 100% deposit match up to $100 that Sleeper is offering as well. So you click that link, you get yourself eligible for that deposit match there, and then you can get some extra money and have a bigger bankroll to go ahead and attack it. So you put in $100 today on Sleeper. Sign up for the new account, click that link. You have $200 to bet, and here's how I would spend it. I would take Draymond Green over 7.5 points. Remember, this is minus 145 up on Caesars. The worst case scenario, minus 126, I think, on FanDuel. Talking about a high 50% implied probability of this happening. And then I would link it together with the Spencer Dinwiddie under 12.5 points, which is actually my favorite play of the day. Remember, 130, 140, 145 is the number for the under here. And on FanDuel, Unibet, Sugar House, and Bet Rivers, they already dropped it to 11.5, and it's juiced up on the under there at minus 113. So this is definitely something that the bettors and the books are thinking is going to come in under the 13 points that he's going to need in order to cash this for the over. We want the under 12.5 on Spencer Dinwiddie. So over 7.5 points, Draymond Green, under 12.5 points, Spencer Dinwiddie. If you put those two together on Sleeper, you put in $100, you get the match, you have $200, you put the full $200 on this. The payoff will be $600, which will be a plus 500 odds that you'd be getting on this. If you go to any sports book and try to parlay those two props together, first off, some sports books won't even let you parlay two props in the same game together. But if you are able to parlay them together, you're going to get like a plus two, I don't know, probably like a plus 300 payout maybe. So you're probably going to wind up somewhere around like $250 to $350 or so on your payout, as opposed to getting a, plus 500 payout over on the Sleeper app. So remember, go down into the description, sleeper.com/FTN bets, get you eligible for all that good stuff. And that is going to wrap it up here today for the FTN Bets Cast for Wednesday, May 18th here at FTN Bets, sponsored by our good friends over at Sleeper. Good luck today, everybody.
Live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.